Welcome back to Primus Creations. This is a new video, a new character, new topic, new background, everything. Still Transformers though. That won't change. This one being a completely different interpretation of Megatron, which technically does spoil the whole thing being Megatron, but you saw the thumbnail already, so whatever. But this one being, I don't know which particular version to call it, but this is a specific version of Megatron I created all by myself. Head sculpt is new too, so please don't copy that. If you do, put my name in there. Ignore the cats in the background, but first off, let's just get straight into it. I love this design. This design only took me 2 days. Actually, technically 1 full day, because the design wasn't really that hard to do. I had enough parts, I had everything, so it wasn't too much of a pain in my neck, but I managed to build everything. The back kind of looks lackluster, but it's way better compared to any of my other previous figures. So, there's some blue here, but I didn't have enough time to swap those out. But way better. This kind of resembles the whole cape thing. It looks brighter for some reason. There you go. That's much better. It looks a lot brighter. But it looks like that version of Megatron where he had this weird tread cape. I don't really like the design. I think it's cool, but it's not as visible in the front. Although you can see those things right there. So, I mean, really cool though. I'm gonna go ahead and see if we can get a close-up of, I don't know, is it fuzzy? I think it is. I'll just zoom back out. And then we'll just take a closer look at the legs first, and then the ground up, even though you can clearly see the legs. I mean the torso. So the legs are pretty simplistic. They're way better than Megatron. I mean, they're way better than Soundwave, way better than Shockwave. The feet are more basic. They have less tune to it, so there's nothing too special about it. The legs over here are way better. They're more simplistic, more pattern, more paneled. And there's not too much going on to make it just seem drastic to the design, even though it doesn't fit with all of these components. This is more separated, so it is pretty cool. Between the calves over here and here, with there being more circles and studs visible and more pieces open. Because I didn't want to over-engineer the leg portion, the side. And then we have the back where the articulation is visible. These parts, I didn't really have enough time to plate, even though this took like about a few days, but I didn't really feel like plating them. Big breath. And then there are these panels. Kind of lackluster, but it is whatever. And then the side view is super clean. Almost. And then we take a closer look at the head, or technically the torso, which is pretty cool actually. I spent a great amount of time building mainly the top, and the bottom was pretty much the last part I did before I ended up reworking the shoulders, because I didn't have anything that was kind of vented in black. I had it in blue and I had it in white only. So that's pretty much all I had to work with, but it's still pretty cool. There is some blue over there, but I think it helps make it pop a little along with these golds. I had to add some different accents around the body. It's not as visible, but it's mainly visible in the cannon, in the legs, in the hands, and in that shoulder, and at the top of the torso. So I had to make him at least pop somehow. Then there's the shine and the glare of my LED lights in the background. But it's pretty cool. If there's one thing I do like, taking a closer look before we get into that torso, it has to be that head sculpt. That head sculpt is by far the greatest I've ever done. It's a bit brittle though, but it's super cool. It's very reminiscent of the 2007 Michael Bay films, which means I will reuse this head sculpt for the 2007 Michael Bay films. So, and then if you turn it to the side, he has the eyes sticking out, which is really cool. I mean, I thought that was a great attention to detail on my part. It looks like he has 2 eyes, but it's not that bad. And then over here you have all of this chest detail. This is kind of the cockpit, because he's a triple changer, kind of like this guy. I didn't want to add him into the shot and create more complications, but he's kind of a triple changer, so he becomes a tank and then he can become a jet. So I didn't want to add landing gear, it was way too complicated. I didn't want to add wings, yet again, way too complicated. But I will get to some of the kibble in just a second though, but there's the cockpit right there, and then some more details. And for those of you who are wondering how come he hasn't fallen yet, if you watch my previous videos, I fixed the legs so they don't collapse almost instantly. Now it'll take a little bit of prying force before everything else in the legs collapses, but going back to the neck, really cool. I love how it's so clunky and bulky, it just wraps around the head nicely. That way it doesn't just sit too weird. And the head is very alienistic, especially from those alien movies. I noticed it the first time I put this head together, and I'm like, it's fine, it fits for a cybertronian mode, because there is no Earth mode. This is the cybertronian version. I do plan on doing an Earth mode soon, but he's going to be a lot more chunkier for some reason. It'll be one of those canon or whatever background, I forgot, there's a certain name for it, but where they just switch the character without explanation. So, pretty cool. Love all of the detail, mainly in the chest too. This part are headlights, but I like to think of them as just kind of more detail. So everything is nicely compact compared to Shockwave. I think Soundwave had a really nice design in the torso, but I think Megatron definitely topped both of them. Even though he's a lot more skinnier than them, especially in the arms, and the shoulder pads are a lot thicker though. The shoulder pads are mainly taken from both. Sorry for the weird inconvenience. The whole table and setup broke on me, and I could not, like, it took a few hours before I could even finish rebuilding him because he broke. Actually, it wasn't that long, was it? Maybe? I don't know. Anyways, back to the review, which I completely forgot, so I'm gonna restart where I left off because I don't really remember. Anyways, pretty cool. Very cool design. I really appreciate it. It reminds me of the 2007 Megatron. At this point, I'm just rambling. I really forgot where I left off, so I'm just gonna restart. I'm not gonna try and redo the whole video. So, shoulder pads are from the tank and jet mode. It's really cool though. I really love this design. I think, even though it took me about a few minutes, I think I enjoy how this came out. It's not zooming in, is it? Oh, that's too bright. Maybe a bit brighter. Maybe that's fine. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. So I think I put my leg on it too much. Since it's kind of bending, it broke, I think. No, it hasn't broken yet. But it has an excessive amount of pressure on it right now, so. Anyways, I'll try and get straight to things, so I'll do comparisons. But before I do comparisons, I have to mention everything else before. Yeah, everything else. So I'm just going to go ahead and go to that. So, the cannon is pretty cool. It's not the best looking cannon, but I kind of just built it up after a few things. It has this piece. This piece is supposed to connect the cannon over there. It's supposed to lock. This piece connects to the cannon as the tank mode, and then this piece, yeah, as the tank mode, and then these pieces collapse for the jet mode. I mean, it's pretty cool to me though. Like, I really love the design. I didn't put I can't really say I put a lot of effort into it because it took me a few minutes. Yesterday I worked on a few pieces here. I kind of focused on the general idea of what I wanted to do with him. And then today I focused on putting all the parts together, putting all the colors. I didn't really need to re-brick anything. So, or get extra parts, so that's great. This side is great too. It's kind of slanted from the wreckage. So, and this back piece came out, so it's kind of disturbed from the wreckage, but it's fine. I mean, I appreciate this chest detail a lot, though. Really, really cool. it really captures Megatron for me because of the bright colors he has and the black. I wanted to add red here, but I think I wouldn't want to overdo it. I think this is perfectly fine. Maybe one day I'll probably add the gray when I upgrade him into his Earth mode, because he's definitely gonna have an Earth mode at some point. Really cool. I love his staturing presence. Right, I'm gonna try and bring in a minifigure. It's gonna be hard to show you how tall he is. You have seen it with Soundwave, because they are basically the same build. So they're basically the same exact build. It's just retooling and complete rebuilding to make a Megatron, basically. Technically, most likely. Now he stands about pretty sure the same height as Soundwave, although I do think that head made him either a bit taller or a bit shorter. So based on how the top is, he looks about 8.5. I'm not really the smartest math person, so you do the math. If you see it, I'm pretty sure it's 8.5 inches, like the rest of them. Anyways, now, to go on a size comparisons, I'm going to have to zoom him out a bit more. I'm going to get this camera to move back. You can see the kittens meowing in my background. I have plenty. Okay, let's start with, we're going to go from a Lego example, because I think many of you guys already have this character, and then we'll go from Studio Series to Yellow Park. So, alright, he's already in the screen, but here we have, I'm going to put him all the way over here, that way you guys can see the comparisons way better. We have the Lego Starter, which that piece just completely came out. Now the reason why I'm bringing these in, not because I collect Legos, I just use it for, I mainly use it for more parts, so yeah, I mainly use them for parts, but now that he's here, I do want to get one thing out of the way, because I know I'm known for, actually I'm not even that popular. Never mind. This inspired me to kind of use them for Waspinator, even though there's nothing I could use for Waspinator here. It's mainly these, because I did want to create, I was working on Beast Wars a while ago, and I did see this, so since these are on hinges, I can just hinge this crown up, and I can make some engineering where the head, where the arms can go out, and then just lock in with the head, and then you can put the shoulders on over there. There's going to be a lot more engineering, but it looks like a wasp, so this gave me an inspiration to kind of use these shoulders for Waspinator, for my custom design of Waspinator. So, and I know not that many people like Waspinator, so, but here he is compared to the Ragnarok Surtur from the set. It's not bad, but I'm not a fan of this. Well, he's pretty cool as a Lego set, but he's pretty tall. We're going to go ahead and put no, actually not two characters. We're going to put one at a time and then eventually put two. So we're going to put the Sunstreaker from Studio Series. Great figure, terrible execution. I don't even think that doesn't even look right. So for those of you wondering, he will not fit into your Studio Series display depending on what you have. So we're going to move him to the side, and then we're going to show him the Bumblebee movie version Megatron. I don't have the Revenge of the Fallen, Dark of the Moon, or 07 Megatron, so I can't really compare that. But I'm most likely guessing that he's shorter. So here he is compared to both Studio Series, if these guys can just stand up. And he's way bigger. You can even tell by his stature and how wide he is. And the worst part is that he's slumped. He's not really upright. He's slumped. He has kind of a hunchback, so if I stand him up straight, he would be a lot taller. So I'm going to go ahead and take these guys out. I got tired of the snapping finger. I'm not doing it. And the final men, or cybertronians, is going to be Yellow Park. So we have the first one being the Bumblebee, or technically Bumblebee from Transformers 1. He's so shiny and vibrant in here. You can even see the reflection. And then we have, he's probably not going to fit the frame either. So we have the Transformers 1 Orion packs from Yellow Park. Yeah, Megatron's still bigger. It looks like he's not if I stand him upright, but he's definitely bigger. Not by a lot, but he's bigger. I love these guys, though. This guy is really vibrant, and his panels come out a lot. I've brought him out in a lot of my reviews because I didn't really have any much characters that would be big, but now I have him. I do expect me to review him, but first I'm going to need Elita and Megatron. I'm getting Megatron in soon. I have to wait on Elita. So hopefully you guys can wait on those a bit more longer before. And there is one character that's completely missing from the sets comparison that I always add most of the time. It was normally the Studio Series Transformers 1, but Optimus Prime. I'm not going to do that. There's also one character I've kind of shown a while ago. It goes with Shockwave and Soundwave. I'm not going to do that. Just wait for him. He's almost done enough for me to review him. So, but anyways, on to Articulation. But before that, there's no accessories. Don't ask for it. There's no transformation either. Don't ask for it. Okay, let's go through this wormhole of Articulation. First, let's go through the whatever. I'm gonna just ball it. So there's a ball joint, there's a ball stick, ball joint. I don't know what you would call it. At the top of the neck, and there's one at the bottom, but that's just to keep it stable. It can go up that far, down that far. Rotation all around, not all around actually, it hits into certain places. Then there's tilt. I don't need to do the other one because it'll start breaking and everything. These are on hinges, but they're super complicated hinges too, so I don't know if I'll be able to get them for Articulation because they just really stick out. But this one you just need to hinge this though. This piece hinges out for this side, and then you see they break too easily. Way too easily. Okay, never mind, I got them out. And then you can get rotation at the ball joint. There's a hinge that mainly keeps it up, but there's a ball joint, and then you can't really lock it in there. It looks really ugly looking, and it just keeps going on and off for some reason. But anyways, there's the quality. It doesn't really want to stick. It doesn't want to go out. Sorry, it doesn't want to lock in and look nice because of this piece, so you kind of have to balance it on how much you want to go. And then there's 90-degree bend, and then there's the ball joint that you've seen in almost every single one of my universes that use this design, and then the 3-fingered ones. So I'm going to put that back. Now, to avoid my pain of having to lift up all of the hinges and ball joints just to get him to look up, or to get these things to T-pose. He can't T-pose though, but I don't want to do all that because it's really complicated. But I think he does have app crunch too. I don't know. Actually, this version of the character with this frame does not have. My dog is really annoying, but doesn't have an app crunch. This version doesn't. The others did, but this one doesn't because of the way it looks. There are ball joints on the hip skirts, which can go out that far, with the legs can go really, really forward. I think no, I'm not going to try that. But it can go really forward, trust me, if that arm is down. Fluent 90-degree bend, pretty cool. The ball joint can go forward that far and go outward. And then tilt side to side. I don't want to try and work it too much, because then it ends up being a pain. But there's rotation, and then rotation here as well. So, overall, I think his articulation is really great. It's more of a breeze to work with everything else but the shoulders. There's always something whenever I create something that's a quick build, and I don't put my time too much into it. And for some reason, the shoulder pads got the end of the stick. Or the shoulder pads got the short end of the stick, and it just so happened that that was how it was. So I had to make this video longer than it has to. It is going to be cut a bit, of course, from editing, but overall, really great. I'm pretty glad I was able to put this guy together in a quick span of a few days. The shoulder pads are very unaligned. it's whatever. But I think the proportions are really cool. It's a different take on Megatron compared to something like... I keep tripping on my own spit. It sounds weird, but whatever. Compared to something like the Bumblebee movie Megatron. So, I think it's pretty cool though. It's a different take. The shoulders are different. Well, not really. The cannon is completely different. You can see my cannon looks more thin. It's almost brittle. It doesn't really look as chunky and as menacing compared to Megatron, the Bumblebee movie Megatron, but I think his proportions already max him out for plenty of bulk in that design. The feet are kind of weird. It's weird to talk about the feet, but I think just some of these highlights make the design stick out more. So that's that. Overall opinion, I'm not removing these guys just yet, but I think I would kind of rate him, he's close to a 10 out of 10 for me. Although, actually, no, that's not even close. He's close to a 9 or an 8 out of 10. Because I think he's perfect, but if it wasn't for those shoulders being a pain in my ass, and the ball joints being really tight and kind of too brittle for those hinges to work with. No, too tight for the hinges to work with, so it would just come out easily. And the neck piece always coming out because it's not the most secure. I think I would probably give him a 7 out of 10. For some reason I like this bloated piece more than this angular piece of his design compared to this. I think it just looks so much cooler with it being looking kind of bloated, but it still matches it. I think pretty cool. You know, I would recommend it if I ended up doing tutorials, but like every other character, they get destroyed and I use them for someone else. So that's that. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and see you guys next time. I'm going to go ahead and